For the first time since 2010, India took the field for a home test match without their premier left-arm spinner. They were also missing his longtime bowling partner on the other end, leaving a gap in a legacy of dominance that hasn't been challenged for over a decade. Head coach Gautam Gambhir entered the one-off test against Afghanistan in New Chandigarh, seeing this vacancy as a strategic opening. With a tour of Sri Lanka approaching, the management needed a reliable fourth spinner. Gambhir explicitly used this fixture as an audition to see who could handle the long-term pressure of the international rotation. The man handed the ball for this specific test was Manav Suthar, a 23-year-old debutant from Sri Ganganagar who had spent years grinding through the domestic circuit. This wasn't a standard bilateral contest for Suthar. It was a targeted evaluation to determine if his mechanics were ready to anchor India's spin attack. India's batting lineup ensured Suthar would make his debut in the most stable environment possible. KL Rahul set the pace with a century, followed by a commanding 126 from captain Shubman Gill, allowing India to declare within a massive first innings lead. Rishabh Pant further demoralized the Afghan bowlers in his 50th test, hitting 3 massive sixes during an unbeaten half-century that accelerated the declaration. When Gill finally called for the declaration at 564 for 8, the Afghan batters were forced to take the field exhausted and facing an insurmountable scoreboard. This 451-run lead provided Suthar with the ultimate luxury, the freedom to bowl aggressively and experiment with his flight without the immediate threat of losing the match. When Suthar finally took the ball, his mechanics revealed a classical approach. He runs in diagonally before releasing the ball from an exceptionally high point. That height allows him to put massive revolutions on the ball, a technique he has refined throughout his domestic career. These revs create significant late drift. The ball moves laterally in the air, pulling the batter out of their stance before bouncing. Once it hits the surface, the energy causes a sharp, unpredictable turn, forcing late, reactive adjustments. And to keep batters honest, Suthar mixes in the arm ball. It looks identical to his spinning delivery, but it skids straight on, targeting the stumps of anyone anticipating the turn. Suthar's effectiveness comes from this flawless execution of traditional spin fundamentals, using guile and flight rather than modern gimmicks. The Afghan top order appeared increasingly unsettled as they struggled to read his flight and the late drift in the Chandigarh air. Suthar's first test wicket came from a delivery that bounced more than expected, causing opener Abdul Malik to mistime an ugly sweep shot that went straight into the air. Against Rahmanullah Gurbaz, he used a classical piece of deception, dipping the ball late and turning it away to find the outside edge of the bat. He claimed his third wicket when the ball stopped on the surface, catching Afsar Zazai off a leading edge for a comfortable return catch. Suthar finished his opening spell in Test cricket with figures of 3 for 21, conceding barely 1 run per over across 15.5 overs of work. By the end of day 2, the scoreboard told the story. Afghanistan was reeling at 113 for 5, still trailing by 451 runs. India's suffocating field placements and disciplined bowling left the visitors with no room to build a partnership, pushing the match toward an inevitable conclusion. This performance directly addressed the coaching staff's requirement for a fourth spinner capable of translating domestic success to the international stage. Suthar didn't just survive his debut. His accuracy and technical discipline suggest he belongs in the senior team's plans for the Sri Lanka tour. By successfully navigating this audition, Suthar has emerged as a viable long-term candidate to bolster India's spin rotation, proving the classical game still has a place in the modern era.